Alright y'all, so to start off with this full affordable glam, I'm just doing my brows with this Crayon Case Brow Pomade in the shade Medium Brown. I have been absolutely loving this and so glad to be reaching for it again. It just does a great job. After I cleaned up my brows, I went ahead and started to prime my lids with this e.l.f. eyeshadow base. I don't know if it has like an official name, but it's a pretty fantastic product. Highly recommend, very much have been enjoying it. I always like to just set that primer at the top underneath my brow bone with a little bit of translucent powder. So I'm just using this black Opal pressed powder that I use all the time. And then I'm picking up this ColourPop palette that was in collaboration with iluvsarahii, and it's the Through My Eyes palette. This palette has been out for a long time, but it's my first time picking it up recently and my first time using it in this video. So I'm starting off with a shade In a Wink, which I very quickly realized was doing absolutely nothing. So then I went in with the shade Euphoric, and I have to say, I really do enjoy this palette. I think it's so pretty and you can create such pretty looks with it, which I learned during this video, but I do think that you need to just be patient with it because it is a palette that you're going to have to build up the colors. Some colors are a little bit more pigmented than others and they pack a little bit more of a punch, but I think that across the board it's a pretty decent palette, especially for the price. Following that, I'm going in with the shade Misbehave, which is just that really yummy, deep purpley shade, but once you blend it out and put it on the lid, it's definitely a little bit more vibrant. At least it's showing up that way on camera. I feel like in person it was about the same, maybe like a little bit deeper, but yeah, I really like that shade. As you can see, I had to do a little bit of work with blending. Not that it wasn't blending out, but again, it's just not blending like butter, like you know how like a Pat McGrath shade or an Anastasia Beverly Hills might almost blend itself. This one you need to play around with a little bit more. I'm going to be taking a like plum eyeliner just to kind of start tracing out the shape of a wing on my outer corner. Now I didn't have an affordable eyeliner in the exact color that I needed, so I just went ahead and reached for what I had in my collection, but any plum eyeliner that you have will do the trick. And then to kind of create this like very exact but also not graphic liner shape, I went between 3 different pencil brushes that were very different variations of like fluffy and a little bit more pointed to really carve everything out. And I took the shade Divina in that palette and just went ahead and blended everything out and helped me to further create that. This look is based off of the structure of a look that Hindash has done before. Hindash typically does it with more neutral shades, but the inspiration came from that look, so I definitely wanted to make sure I was following along with that basic structure, which I think is just so flattering on the eye and really played into a lot of my decisions when it came to how I exactly wanted everything to curve and look. The star of this show is definitely the shade Lucido. That is what I am popping on the inner corners and just blending it out. It is such a beautiful, beautiful shade. It's so bright and I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I do, but yeah, I love it. Then I just went back in with a little bit more of that eyeliner to just tighten things up and deepen things up. And then I took a little bit of the shade Wild Soul just to pop under the brow bone, and it just really gives this kind of like flawless effect and gets rid of any harshness that you might have from that graphic liner area. To prime my face, I'm using this e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. If you've been on my channel before, you know I love it. And lately, I have been absolutely loving this Crayon Case eye glue stick eyeshadow base under my eyes. It does such a fantastic job of helping my under eye concealer to stay on there and not have as much creasing and any of the issues that I typically get when my eyes get super watery, so I've been living for that. I've also been reaching for this NYX foundation lately. It is really, really pretty. It's been compared to the NARS, what is that called? The Radiant Longwear foundation, which I cannot find my shade anywhere. So, and the one that I have is super expired. So I've been really enjoying this one, and it's the NYX Born to Glow foundation. I'm using the shade Golden. After I applied that with my brush, I just went ahead and went over everything with my sponge just to make sure everything was nice and pressed in and flawless. Y'all know the vibe. The e.l.f. Camo Concealer, the Hydrating Camo Concealer, has really just been doing it for me lately. I hadn't reached for it in a while, and when I saw it, I was like, yeah, I need to start using this again. It is so lovely. A little bit goes a long way, and the coverage on it is amazing. Highly recommended if you have not tried it already. The shade that I used for this one is Medium Sand, by the way. I love a warm contour. I just think that on skin tones like myself, where I have a little bit of a warmth already, I don't really like to use cool tone much of anything. I prefer to find that warmth there and just do like a natural bronzy contour. So I'm using my black Opal foundation stick in the shade Beautiful Bronze. I use this literally all the time. It is my favorite thing to just carve out my face and give myself a little bit of that extra oomph, and it's amazing. I definitely went through and did some blending in like sections and layers because I just really wanted everything to look really snatched and to make sure I was really taking my time just to like appreciate the experience and make sure this look came together perfectly. So a great tip that I've definitely done on my channel before, but if you're new here, a great tip for doing your under eye concealer is to take a brush when you're getting closer to your eye and be a little bit more precise. I do that when I'm working on clients. I have artists that do that when they're working on me. And then if you want to go back in with your sponge and just kind of lightly blend things out, just to make sure everything's really pressed and flawless, I would say do that. It just makes the process a lot easier in my opinion. It makes it a little bit easier to control because sometimes your sponge can just get away from you. And then I am just pressing in a little bit of that powder. Today I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me powder in the shade Light Medium. I always like to press in a little bit of the black opal powder first just to set everything in place, and then I go in with that powder on top to do a little bit of very, very, very light baking and carving out. And then I am taking this lip bar face powder, and I am just going ahead and setting everything else down and making sure everything is melting beautifully. I also did put down a little bit of cream blush from Milani. My camera did not catch me doing that, but that is what I use. I use one of their Cheek Kiss blushes. And I have been absolutely adoring this bronzing duo from Juvia's Place. I just mix both colors. On my nose in particular, I only use the top lighter shade, but for the rest of my face, I just mix them both together. They are absolutely gorgeous together. Cannot get enough. I don't know why I waited so long to use them, but yeah, they're great. Also, if you were wondering what that powder shade was from the lip bar, it was in the shade Golden Girl. For this Profusion 2 blush palette, I love it. I'm using that bottom shade on the bottom right, and I realized pretty quickly that this was much more pigmented than I remembered and that I should have gone in with such a less heavy hand. So I just went in with a little bit of whatever's left on that powder brush from the lip bar and just went ahead and kind of blotted it out or toned it down a little bit. Then using this Master Chrome highlight, which I feel like people don't talk about as much anymore, but they definitely should because it is so good. It's in the shade Molten Gold. I'm just going ahead and giving my face that glow. And if you're wondering what I sprayed my face with, that was my Milani Continuous Setting Mist, which I love. To prep my lashes for these gorgeous Allure lashes that are just everything, I'm going in with a classic at this point, the Essence Lash Princess Mascara. Y'all all know it. Y'all all love it. It is wonderful. I think everybody has used this at some point. And then I'm just going to pop on these Eyeshadow London Definition Lashes in the style 126. These are so lovely and full and gorgeous, but they don't take away from the look by being a little bit too voluptuous. They're just like the perfect amount, and I'm obsessed. To line my lips, I'm going in with my Lip Bar Straight Up Living lip liner. That is my go-to. I use it almost every time I do my makeup. And then I am going to just add a little bit of this NYX Lip Lingerie in the shade Cabaret Show. And that is just such a stunning color, and I really enjoy the formula. It's very thin, but it's very comfortable as well. And then right on top, I've been really feeling these Maybelline lifter glosses, and I'm using the shade number 007 Amber. So gorgeous, so gorgeous, so glossy, and not sticky at all. I've been purchasing more and more of these, and yeah, definitely a big fan. And that is the completed look. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye, my loves.
Don't take it personal, we just building. It's my season, lay foundation, make a name for generations. Please and make a, then take a break or a little vacation.